Hello everyone, today we're making smash burgers. So, first things first, grab 250 grams of 15% fat mince. And you don't need to have 15%, you can use 20 if you want more flavour. Or if you're watching your weight, you can use 5%. It really doesn't make that much of a difference, but I think having a little bit of fat in there gives it a nice flavour. So, as you can see, we're now rolling these into little balls and flattening them down to make the patties. Now, you'll probably make about 5 patties with 250 grams. You don't need any eggs or breadcrumbs or anything like that. The patties will naturally just stick together on their own, which is quite good. A lot of people think that you need to add breadcrumbs and stuff like like a meatball, but you actually don't. It's pretty easy to make. So get them nice and flat. You want them as flat as possible. The flatter they are, the quicker they take to cook. Whilst you're doing this, heat up some butter in a pan because you want it really hot. It's like a steak. You want to sear and get a nice crisp on the outside, but not too much that it would dry out the burger. And yeah, as you can see, I'm trying to make them all even. It's quite difficult, but especially if you're just eyeballing it. But you can always weigh it out and measure out exact portions if you're that fussy. But I'm not, because it was just myself. So excellent. As always, I'll post the nutritional information, but it was actually pretty decent. The nutritional information you get from this, I was quite shocked at, actually. So here we are. Just changing some over there. As you can see, I'm trying to make them as even as possible because then they all cook. They all cook really evenly, so it's good. But yes, if you're watching your weight, 5% will do. If you want more flavour, 20%. Happy medium, 15%. And obviously, it's always better to use steak mince rather than lean mince or any other supermarket things. You better to go to a butcher. Always better to go to a butcher, regardless, for these sorts of things. But never mind. So what your oil should be roasting hot by now. And for seasoning for these, all you need is salt. You don't need pepper. You don't need anything like that. You don't need garlic. You need anything like that. All it is a little bit of salt on each patty. Do all of them and then flip it round and do the other sides. Best. That's best because then you don't get your grinder all covered in meat. Don't want that to happen. So as you can see, well, it's stuck a wee bit there. But they just flip natural on their own because you've pressed them down. They're all good. You don't need anything really. I mean, if you were to leave them, they probably would end up eventually crumbling. But because we're putting them immediately in the hot oil, they're gonna keep their shape when they cook. And give it just about ready. So here we go. The oil is nice and bubbling away there. Nice and you know that oil, you know that butter is really hot when it starts to separate like this. You've got the milk fats inside start to crystallize and separate from the main part, but that's what you want because then you're gonna get that browned butter sort of flavor. Although it's not quite brown butter stage yet. If you were to cook it a bit more, you would get to brown butter stage. And yeah, so I couldn't fit all 5 of the patties inside the pan. But this, what you want to do here is just when they're in here, hot oil, you want to keep pressing down with a spatula. Keep pressing and get it nice and flat and press it to the oil, because you're going to get that nice crisp on the one side. And you'll put these in for maybe 1 to 2 minutes, depending on how thin you've made it. That was me checking underneath. You've got to keep an eye on them. Once they're nice and crispened, you flip them over. I would say 1 minute, 2 minutes, depending on how thin. And obviously the fat content will help cook as well. So you've got that nice, they're all bubbling away. I know my temperature was set medium when it should really be high as well. You should really have it on a high heat, but I don't like the oil hitting me. It's not a nice feeling getting burned. I don't know how some people actually manage it, to be completely honest with you. But they can. So, yeah. They're not, as you can see on this side when we flipped it around, they're a bit crispy on the edges, which is what we want. And you can see in the background they were using St. Pierre brioche buns. They're my favourite. They're my go-to every time. They just taste amazing, and they cook really well for all the things that needed to be done. Like when they go in the air fryer later. And once these are cooked, get a plate and put kitchen roll on the plate first, and then dab the excess fat off it. Because nothing worse than a greasy burger. Unless that's your thing, of course. If you like that, then keep it. But I don't. I like to take away some of the fat at least. Because they are really juicy burgers. You know, obviously I'm making 5 here. One of the burgers I make is a triple burger. And we all know the mistake McDonald's made when they released their triple burger and how dry it was. These are not that, I can assure you. These patties are very moist inside. They're very juicy. They're not dry at all. So once your patties are cooked, and my 5th one here, put the onions in the same butter that you've cooked it in, because you'll have the flavour from the meat, the flavour from the butter, and the fat from the mince as well that's fizzled out will cook these onions and give them a really, really nice caramelization. And I'm cooking the 3rd patty in here as well, so that's even better. The saltiness and everything from that patty is just going to really bring those onions together. As you can see, because of the high heat, they're already starting to brown, which is what you want. You don't want to burn the onions obviously, but you just want a nice brown colour, and they get them nice and soft enough that you can just place them gently on the bun once they come out the air fryer, and you get a nice bite through them. You can't really, well, you can taste them, of course, that's what you want, but you're not crunching into them. I quite like crunchy onions, to be completely honest, but not a lot of people do, and obviously caramelise this hell of a lot better. Then you're just bubbling away, and this patty is nice and crispy now. They're nice, come a nice golden colour every time I flip it over. You can see that they're getting better and better. And let me tell you guys, these actually did taste amazing with the burger. I'm not just saying that because I'm cooking obviously, but I actually genuinely mean it. They were really nice. And I've had expert judgment from my brother when he's had them. I've even done vegan ones. My brother's girlfriend is vegan. Not by choice, but that's another story from another time. But I've even made burgers this way, using oil and vegan mince. Basically the same way, except obviously with the vegan mince you need flour and water to bind it together, but it made a really nice vegan burger. It said it was the best she'd ever tasted, so maybe one day I'll do some vegan cooking. Who knows? And we're getting that way now. So here we go. We've got our brioche buns, and you see the Saint Pierre ones. They are the best to use for burgers and anything you're using that's brioche bun needed, because they're fantastic. And as you can see, they're already cut, so you don't need to worry about that. And you're going to add butter. Spread some butter on both sides of your bun, and then stick it in the air fryer about 2 minutes at 200 degrees until they crispen. And it doesn't take that long. Don't leave them in too long. You don't want them to burn. You just want a nice crisp to put your toppings and stuff on. Now, there's many different toppings you can have. We'll see in a minute what I made, what I put on mine. They were quite nice. One replicated McDonald's burger. I'll show you how to do the sauce momentarily as well for that. Oh, a bit tear, that's not good. That annoyed me. That teared. Because they're just so soft. They're really nice buns. So yeah, you'll stick them in the air fryer. 2 minutes, 200 degrees. They'll go nice and golden. And then we'll have our toppings. So what I did for my toppings was I used blue cheese, onions. That's the first thing we add here is the caramelized onions on the bottom. Obviously, it's up to you guys. Whatever you want to add. A burger can be quite a few things, really, can't it? Some people like lettuce, some people like tomatoes, some people don't. It's just up to you. It's completely up to yourself. They're also smash burgers, so don't really add lettuce for smash burgers, but but you can. You absolutely can. They do taste just like normal burgers. The only difference is that they're smashed and they're thinner, so you can stack them. So the onions, nice and brown, nice golden, and not too badly cooked that they're burnt. They're nice and soft. You've still got the whiteness in some parts there. And this is the McDonald's replication. So Heinz ketchup, you put a wee blob on there just to cover the bun, and a tiny, tiny little amount of English mustard. Not much at all, just a little dab, and you give it a stir, and that there is exactly how a McDonald's burger would taste if you were to get one, especially with the smash patties, because that's what they have in McDonald's. It's smash patties, but obviously these are 10 times better because they're made with real meat and not like tons of preservatives and artificial rubbish that can harm you. So I made one McDonald's, and with the third one in the corner here, I've got a triple burger. I also added half a slice of blue cheese. Now I know not everyone likes blue cheese, but I do. I like Tesco Finest Blue Stilton burger melts. They're great. I don't just use them for burgers. I use them for all sorts of things. Even making. So here we go. I sandwiched them like this so that there'd be nice melt in between. My fear here was that they wouldn't stack well, but it turns out it did, and it actually held in the air fryer its shape. See, it wasn't really holding there. I was a bit nervous, but it came out fantastic, as you'll see in the end. I didn't add all of it, obviously, because it definitely would not fit. So there's the McDonald's one and the blue cheese one, and you'll stick them in the air fryer for, I would have said 5 minutes at 200, just until your cheese melts, until you heat up the patties again, because you put it to one side, remember. And yes, so they come out, and look at that, the nice crispy. It's all. Oh, they were really great, guys. I can't recommend enough that you try these. You try this recipe. So I cut them open so you can see. Nice and crispy bun. They're not pink at all. I know a lot of people like well done. You don't need to have these rare or medium if you don't want. You can if you like, just less time in the pan. But you don't get that crisp otherwise. It's quite difficult to get medium rare and crispiness. You can see inside there. The blue cheese and the layers, it was fantastic. But thanks guys, thanks for watching. See you next time. Cheerio.